I'm Charles Hyland, and I'm here to talk to farm environmental sustainability with AgRestore. So I'm a soil scientist, and I'm generally an environmental scientist and an agricultural scientist. And my work for the last 25 years has focused on measuring the environmental impacts of agriculture and then implementing solutions to decrease those effects. And I do that through soil science. And I chose soil science because it sits at the nexus of all things in the environment. It's where the land, or it is the land, but it's where the air meets the water, meets the geology of the earth, and it's really the nexus where everything passes through in the environment, which is what really drew me to soil science in the first place. And so, I'm a soil biogeochemist, and what that is I study how substances either stay on land or inland or are lost to the water or the air. And I also am a soil microbial ecologist, so I research the effects on microbes, things that farmers and gardeners do to their soils. And I'm also a freshwater scientist, primarily in studying how things that are done to the soil impact waterways. And I've been working in New Zealand for the last 10 years, and I've developed this company. Really, it's a selection of methods that I have tons of experience with in a research capacity over the years that I've put together to help farmers and gardeners make decisions that are in the environment and the landowner's best interest, and informed by data. I think everyone in the Soil and Health Association feels a commitment to the environment and wants to make the most environmentally sustainable choices. And that's a complicated thing to figure out. And so what I'm going to show you today is something I've been developing since the year 2000, when my family farm had converted to certified organic, and we were growing soybeans. And when we switched to organic, our diesel consumption skyrocketed, because rather than driving through the paddocks, the fields, a couple times a season, we had to drive through every few weeks to manually pull the weeds out. And in my mind, I was thinking, organic is just inherently always more sustainable. And then I realized at that moment that, in this specific instance, if we're looking at carbon footprints, it's not. And it made me want to see consumers, including myself, have a choice regarding environmental sustainability beyond just organic. And carbon footprint is one example, but environmental footprints as a whole is really what is the information I was looking for to make my own decisions as a consumer. And so this company really came out of that. Context out of the way, let's jump into what the company actually does. Traditionally, or conventionally, soil has been managed based on chemistry, which is primarily looked at as fertilizers, what nutrients do the plants need. And usually it only refers to macronutrients, which are the nutrients plants need in the greatest abundance, which are shown behind me. And trace elements or micronutrients are equally essential for plants to grow and thrive. But get less attention, particularly in conventional agriculture, but all the way around, really. And so that's soil chemistry. It fits into the greater concept of soil health, as it's one part of soil health. We've got chemistry, biology, and physics. And where they all overlap is where we have soil health. So a soil that is sustainable year after year and will not break down. And this term sustainability is thrown around a lot, but I mean, really what it means is enduring, will not deteriorate or lessen in value over time. And with responsible soil management, it's always possible to have your soils improve in quality year after year, regardless of the scale or budget. Yeah, soil health has those three components, and soil health improves plant health for the short term and the long term. Healthy soils that are managed holistically have greater drought tolerance and greater resistance to erosion from rainfall and wind, and many, many other qualities. Everything you think of when you think of a healthy garden soil is measurable. These are concepts that over time have always been fuzzy and kind of out of reach. But in the last couple decades, science globally has really come a long way in enabling us to put hard numbers on all of these things that used to be sustainable soil is a fully functioning ecosystem. If you go out to a healthy garden soil and you pick up one handful of soil, there are more organisms living in that handful of soil than there are human beings living on the whole planet. And it's not just a matter of how many microbes there are. It's a matter of how many microbes of each different type and how active they are, and it's as fascinating and as complex as measuring terrestrial ecosystems like rainforests. Once you know who the organisms are that live in the soil, it's just a fantastic ecosystem to measure. I mentioned that soil health improves drought resilience in farm and garden soils. And I'm not going to get too heavy into graphs and stuff in this presentation because it's nighttime and I want to be nice to my audience. But this graph is one that I saw many years ago and has really always stuck with me, and I like to show it to audiences because it really drives home why soil organic matter is so important. So soil carbon, the living part of the soil, can more than double the amount of water available to plants in a drought. So on this graph, it shows water available to plants, with the bottom of that being permanent wilting percentage, so the point where there's so little water in soil that plants wilt. And then field capacity is the amount of water that's in soil when it gets saturated by rain and then freely drains out. And so this graph shows that as you increase the organic matter content in the soil, the amount of water available to plants goes up proportionally. So more organic matter in the soil, the better the soil does in a drought. And this is just like one of the lessons that I hope conventional agriculture can learn from organics for the benefit of everyone. Because it's easy to look at agriculture as, conventional and organic as two separate things that don't work with each other, when in reality they're both changing all the time, and conventional agriculture is adopting more of the beneficial methods that organic farmers are using as hard numbers are put on them and we can prove what the benefits are. And this is a device that we use to measure how much water a soil can hold.